Hello all, Matt here. Welcome to sunny Pyro, the home of LMP. So today I am riding to Whangamata, Coromandel beach resort town, or that's what they like to think of themselves anyway. Got family that live there, so taking the rally over, hoping to get a ride in with the old man, because I haven't ridden with him for a while. And yeah, I thought I'd just share one of my favourite parts of the Coromandel Loop, which is this section we're about to come up on, the Coromandel Gorge, which I think is just absolutely stunning. So yeah, I used to actually work here in Pyro. The commute sucked. It was a long ass commute, but it was a fun job. Testing and riding motorbikes and writing about them. Don't hit me, car. World famous LMP bottle. I'd stop for a photo, but I'm actually trying to catch up to the family who are in the car ahead of me. So yeah, it's so far a pretty good summer of riding here in New Zealand. No real nasty COVID, so to speak of. I've done the 42 Traverse and Fisher's Track already. Did that just before New Year's, and yeah, hopefully I'll do the full Coromandel Loop with the old man in a few days time, or something fun. And yeah, it's just been really good. The Shinko E804 and E805 tyres are doing really well. Still pretty blown away with the performance considering how little they cost. Sorry if you can't hear me as well. I'm still trialling microphone options to see what works best. But yeah, the Shinkos, they're doing really well. You can really lean them in, and they hold well nicely. I haven't ridden with them in the wet yet, so I can't comment on wet weather performance. But when it comes to the dry stuff, they're really good, and they hook up really well in the dirt, which is what I wanted them to do, because yeah, my old tyres weren't so great in the dirt stuff, and I was doing a lot more of it. So yeah, this isn't going to be a flying ride along the Coromandel Gorge. It's middle of summer, people are still on holiday, and as you can see, the rally's not the most practical like when it comes to overtaking. It'll get the job done if you've got enough space, but it's not amazing at it. So yeah, when I worked in Pyro at the magazine there, this was my favourite road to come out on. And it's not because it's a particularly fast road, the speed limit's 80k. So hopefully when we're actually riding along it, you can hear me a bit better. Righto, Coromandel Gorge. So the whole Coromandel Loop's actually quite stunning. But there's something about the gorge here. You've got the cliffs on the sides, all the trees and native bush, and river running alongside it. So it's really quite stunning. And apparently one of my ancestors was actually born in here. I can't remember if it was my grandfather or my great-grandfather, but one of them was born up on the hill here somewhere. which is kind of neat. Always love the biker wave. So yeah, just riding along this river here is stunning. I love it. Sound a bit evangelical, I think, but no, it's seriously one of my favourite bits of road to ride along. Let's see, will I get away with this guy? Yeah! Good stuff. Bit of a hippie cafe there by the looks. Coromandel Mountain. Apparently someone wants to mine that from underneath, which the locals are all against, but I think it'd be an utter shame if they cocked up this part of the area. On the other side of the gorge is Waihi, and it's got a giant open cast mine. And underneath Waihi is a whole lot of old mine tunnels, and the town's got a bit of a sinkhole problem at the moment. Oh, come on mate, you could have pulled over a bit to the slow vehicle. I'd love to do the walk along here. I haven't done this in about 20 years. Quite a fun walk. You can actually cycle it as well if you're keen enough. Sadly can't take the motorbike along it, otherwise I'd be doing that instead of riding along this bit. So that bridge actually comes out back to the previous bridge. Goes right through the mountains. It's an old railway tunnel, which is really cool. It's really bloody dark in there too last time I went in it. I don't know if they've changed it since they've upgraded everything. So this was a major gold mining area back in the day. So there's lots of old remnants from when the gold miners were here in the 1800s. As you can imagine, when it's not chocker with traffic, it's actually quite a fun, twisting ride. So there's not even any point in overtaking today, there's just too much traffic. Overtake one car and you're stuck behind another. Oh, that car up there looks cool. Holden? Maybe? I don't know. I've actually been tooling around with the GoPro setup as well. So it's actually set up mounted to the top of my helmet or hanging down below my chin bar, which didn't really work too well on the 42 Traverse. I've got it sitting up sort of just below my eye line, sort of just off to the side of the top of my air vent at the front of the helmet. Oh, let's see if I can get away with this guy. Yeah! Oh, that may have been a lady. So the Coromandel Loop, which was the sort of the bottom hook of, it's basically if you come up riding in Auckland, this is where you come to have a real good play for a weekend. And you can make it a weekend ride, or you can crack it out in a day. Goes all the way up from down here. Waihi is sort of the bottom end of it, and then the top end is Coromandel town itself. Yeah, beautifully twisty road. Some stellar views north of Tairua. definitely good fun on a mildly powerful bike or even a grunty bike. This bike's, oh, it'll be a bit of fun if I get to do it. There's a big waterfall up there that people like to go and swim at and do all sorts at. So yeah, coming up here on the right, well on the left is what the Waikino pub, Waikino Tavern, which has recently been refurbed. This used to have shops all along the side here back in the day until there was a really nasty flood and it all got washed away in the tavern. My grandfather tells a story about the tavern being up to the taps in water from the river. But right over here, this is the Victoria Battery. This is where they all stamped out the gold and out of all the rock and everything. Been upgraded a bit. There's toilets behind it now. It's part of the Hauraki Rail Trail. Coming along here, belting along on a nice clear day. Be warned, there's a speed camera just up here. There it is, behind those trees. Perfect place to get you if you're unaware. One day I'd like to do the rail trail itself on a push bike, but got to get a decent push bike. If you've got kids and whatnot, this wee train here is good fun. Just goes up to Waihi and back. Cafe there's alright. Doing alright coffee and they've got a decent selection of food. Remember they had a really good soup there once. So yeah, that's the gorge itself really. Nice and beautiful, nice and fun. Part of the Coromandel Loop. So I'll sign off here for now, and I might come back to you a wee bit later on when the road opens up a bit and we can have a bit more fun. So yeah, talk to you soon. Righto, well I don't know if you can hear me particularly well, it's going a wee bit fast, but this is another wee fun bit of the Coro Loop. So we're just out of Waihi, and yeah, there's some good fun twisty corners here. Fucking line up with that a bit. So I still can't believe these Shinkos hold on as well as they do for a knobby tyre. Very confidence inspiring, if a little bit bubbly, I guess, bouncy. So back in the day, when I worked at the magazine in Bairoa, we used to do photos around these corners because yeah, they offer a really nice view and you can get the bike cleaned in real nice. Particularly this corner, I love this one. Wide in. Size out. A bit different doing it on a 250 Honda compared to a 900 Dorset Euro. And Pacific Ocean's out there. So from here on out you're sort of following the coast and heading north. be careful on these corners. Locals and other cars like to cut them or go wide, so it's definitely a case of you want to go wide and tight out once you see the exit. Haven't really decided why I'm doing these moto vlogs. Something I've always wanted to do, but the actual purpose of them is, well, am I doing it for me or am I sharing it with you guys? I don't really know at this point, but yeah, I'll probably put this one up, share it. It is such a great fun bit of road, this. Way more fun doing it on a motorbike than in the car, that's for sure. Looks like they're going all out, fun's about to stop, but you can enjoy the views. This bit of the loop's really scenic. That's the word I was looking for. Check that out. One day I'll stop there, but not today, because when I get to my destination there are cold beers, a swimming pool, and two little humans that'll be very pleased to see me. Always amazes me the number of people in sign-written vehicles that drive like shit. Like this guy in front, going wide through the corners and stuff. I know there was no oncoming vehicle then, but come on mate, shit, you're getting way too close to the edge there. Definitely not the kind of road you want to be cutting corners and going into blind corners tight and everything on. Just not worth it, especially with arseholes like this in front. Chicken corner, and there's normally a whole lot of chickens milling on the side of the road around this one. One of the many unique hazards of the Coromandel Loop. That's the thing I did recently. Well, only yesterday I swapped the handlebars and the grips on the Rally. So now I've got a Fly CR high aluminium handlebar, which is basically a direct swap for the factory bar, except it's alloy, so theoretically it's a bit lighter. And in theory it reduces vibrations. I'm not convinced at this stage, but we'll see when I get to my destination if my fingers tingle. And change the grips for rental pillow tops, which I amazingly butchered while trying to fend off a toddler who wanted to help. So they don't look the prettiest, but they are working nicely. Again, they're meant to reduce vibration, and I'm not 100% sure if I feel any difference at this stage. The proof in the pudding will be when I get to my destination and if my fingers tingle. But they look cool, and having the bash pad there inspires a wee bit of confidence. But I've got this whole rally fairing to whack into, so it's if I'm going over the bars, the handlebar itself's the least of my worries. Come on, please turn right. Slow pokes. No. Oh well. It's not all I can do about it. Yeah, unfortunately, it's on a bike this small in capacity and with a rider as fat as me, not much in the way of passing opportunities. Another biker coming. Let's see if we can get a wave out of him. Yep, got a nod. Good enough. Wouldn't it be lovely if some of these cars pulled over at the top of this hill where there's a giant gravel trap to pull over on? Not going to hold my breath. More power than me, mate. Ooh. Yeah, not the best of decisions that. If there was another vehicle coming around the corner, you would have been toast, mate. I know we're going slow and it's frustrating, but in my mind that's just a risk that's not worth taking, no matter how grunty your bike. Oh, that's an interesting look. Oh, well, the mate's coming past. Oh, what a Yamaha. Now that's an interesting looking bike. Oh. Yeah, and see that was too close for Bobber Boy. So you make overtaking manoeuvres and you're just stuck behind someone else. Look how close he is to that trailer. If they emergency brake, he's stuffed. Huh. Off they go, the cruiser boys. Good luck to them. Around the next few corners I can actually point to the place I rode a motorcycle for the first time. So yeah, this farm on the right here, down this long gravel driveway, that's where I first rode a motorcycle. Cousin's little Suzuki, and there's a paddock behind here, g'day mate, and with an electric fence, and I promptly rode my cousin's bike straight into it, which my uncle wasn't too stoked with, I remember, mostly because he had to turn the electric fence off to get the thing out. Not half pretty, New Zealand. She's all pretty. That was about. boys almost needed a pilot vehicle there that wide. Not the most comfortable bike in the world, but my butt's only just starting to get a wee bit sore. Not bad after riding for an hour and a half. And yeah, this is the outskirts of Whangamata. Ooh, that looks like a fun trail up that hill. It even looks like a gate to get in there. It's a shame so many good looking hills and trails and such are locked behind gates in New Zealand. Righto, well this is where we hook off. Wentworth Valley. Oh, they've got a sensible speed limit at 70k an hour. It used to be 100 and it used to be a gravel road that was narrow as. Oh, this is weird. Gravel used to start here. It's taken them over 20 years to get this road sealed. People used to crash off here all the time, up there all the time. Hey geese, or ducks, or whatever you are. Nice, they've widened it as well. These corners here were like really bad. It's actually wide enough. Oh, this is actually pretty, not all half bad. Used to be able to get a good skid on around these corners though when it was gravel. I suppose the real proof in the pudding will be how this road handles winter, because it's rather prone to flooding. There's a river, the Wentworth River, right here, just behind this bank, and yeah, I've come through here when it's been about 2 feet deep. My old man came through here once and totaled his car because it just got that deep. Definitely a lot quicker to get through here now it's not gravel. Righto, well this is where I shall sign off, I think. Should we see, take a quick gander down there. Little river crossing. Just for shits and giggles. Rightio. So, I hope you enjoyed watching. Now my random mildly pointless moto vlog. If you want to see more, subscribe. Hopefully this year we'll have a bit more in the way of actual bike reviews, and a bit more other content that's not just me riding along rambling. So yeah, hit subscribe, give us a like, tell me if my ramble was actually worth watching, and catch you later.